Alright, so today we are doing the brakes, or the front brakes, on a 2018 Dodge Grand Caravan. First thing we want to do is go ahead and set our parking brake. I'm only going to do one side because it's the exact same on each side. We're going to go ahead and do this side. Let's go ahead and jack the van up. Alright, so now that we're all jacked up, we're going to go ahead and take this wheel off, and we'll just go ahead and time lapse that real quick. Alright, so once our tire is off, this is really all we're dealing with here. It's only 4 bolts, not much at all. Sometimes, and you'll actually see when I put the new rotor on, sometimes there's a screw in here somewhere, and the new rotors actually have the slot for the screw. This one doesn't have that, so we don't have to worry about that on this particular van. But what we do have is we have 4 total bolts. So there's one here. This is a 13 millimeter. On the very bottom side, my finger's actually on it, is another 13 millimeter right here. Then we have 2 21s. One is here, and the other one is here. So we're going to go ahead and get these 2 13s out. Let me see if I can show that. All right, so what you're seeing is the back side of the caliper here, and these jokers is on there. Woo! Not very large bolts. Be sure you keep a hold of them. Pretty small. I hope that's picking up. And let's go ahead and get this other one out. It's right there. Ooh, shoot fire. There we go. Woo. Sitting here and watching, I'm about to whop myself in the face. That would have been a day one mistake there. Woo. All right. So here's our second bolt. We'll go ahead and put it with our first. Now this is just going to slide out, and then what I'm going to do, rather than letting it hang, I've got a zip tie here, and I'm going to zip tie this joker to the spring here. Let me go ahead and knock that out. All right, so these brakes, these calipers here, or these pads here, you just sort of wiggle them out, work them out, and they come out like that, both sides, and just sort of move them around, and they come out. Now if you're only doing the pads, all you gotta do, put 2 more pads back in here and press your caliper back in. Since we're going to go ahead and do the rotor itself also, we got these 2 21 millimeter bolts, one there to go ahead and worry about. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so these jokers are not very easy to get loose, and you're probably going to hear me do some grunting, some fighting and some kicking, but let's see if I can get it in one go round. Oh, shoot fire. All right, well, let's try the other one real quick. If not, the PV blaster's coming out. Yep, PV blaster it is. All right, guys, I am going to cheat a little bit. Got my impact in here. It is small enough to get in here. Here we go. There we go. All right. I definitely cheated quite a bit there, but I did get those 2 bolts out. All right, so once this bolt comes out, this bracket is going to fall. So it's best to sort of brace yourself for that fall. Just set it over here to the side. There's our bracket. There's our bolt. Now this is actually loose, probably because I hit it with the impact and it actually shook the rotor loose. Sometimes you have to hit these with a hammer. Like I said, sometimes there's a screw in here. If you have to hit it with a hammer, just sort of go around knocking it with a hammer. I tend not to use all my might. I just sort of knock it, hit it and it'll eventually come loose, rather than just using the full-on sledgehammer and beating it off of there, because you don't want to break other things. But like I said, probably because I used the impact, this is already loose. We're just going to go ahead and take that out. Let's go ahead and get our new one on here, and I'll show you what I mean by that screw. Go ahead and line this up. There it goes. All right, now like I said previously several times now, every now and then there's a screw in here that holds the rotor on. This particular van doesn't have that, but if it does, of course you line up all of your studs, but you also need to line up your hole where your screw goes. Like I said, this particular van does not. Maybe it's an option on another one, you know, not sure. But now we're to the point where we can start putting things back together. So the first thing we're going to put back together is our bracket. Ouch! That we took off. Looks like this. Make sure you get all your angles correct and put it back on there the way that it sits. Go ahead and get you a bolt and line it up in there. And I like to get one started and then start working on the second one. There we go. Man. Now let me get these tightened up. Alright, so now everything looks like this. We got our bracket back on here. We're going to go ahead and put our pads in. It doesn't really matter which side you start with. And on this particular van, they're actually the same pad on each side. But if you see, you got these little tabs here. Sort of line them up and then smash them in. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. I may not be able to. I may need both hands for this. Here we go. There's one. And I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, let's do this two-handed. Okay, because the pads are the exact same on the front and the back, should be able to show you very well here on the inside or the back how they go in. If I can go ahead and see what it is that I am doing. There we go. There we go. And you just get it to set in here. Once it sets in here, keep catching that piece there. There we go. Nope. Yep. There it is. Ba-doop. All right. So you got these little. Let's see if this is even going to pick up on here. These very little hateful tabs. You got to make sure you clear those and then get in there. But now let's compress the caliper. All right, so up until now, the caliper itself was zip tied up here to a spring. We're going to go ahead and grab an old pad, and you see these two cylinders here. These plunge out to sort of stop the vehicle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an old pad, we're going to put it right here, and then we're going to get a a clamp, a C-clamp. I'm going to put it on here, and we're going to clamp down on it to sort of press those back in. So let me see if I can work this out to show you at the same time. All right, so I got my clamp on here, and I'm just going to tighten it down until it smashes it all the way in. As you can see, it's starting to smash. I'm going to have to do both sides. So because this is really a two-handed job and my tripod is just too big to get in here, I'm going to go ahead and set the camera down and do one at a time, and maybe time lapse. Alright, so now that everything's clamped in, we're going to go ahead and put this on. Now, if you can see, there's like two different heights to the pad. I'm not sure if that's picking up or not. You got to be sure you clear those. You also got to worry about these back here where you bolt in those two 13mm bolts. You got to line those up. So let's go ahead and film this from the other side so you can sort of see how it goes back together. Right, so let's slide these back on. There we go. There's that. Now you smash these little, there's that one. Smash those in and line them up. And let's do top first, just because I'm here. There we go. Get that lined up in there. And there is that. And do the bottom side. All right. And after we're done with this, we're going to go ahead and get the tire on there, and we're all done with this job. Alright, and that's it. Be sure you check your brakes before you go to do an abrupt stop. But that's the job done.